Okay, guys, I should be live. Hi, and welcome to this stream and discussion. Well, live video basically, and you can say analysis of this brand new video about the Adeptus Custodes by the Temporal Institute. I have to get used to saying their name, so I'm sorry if I butcher that. The name of the channel, the Templin Institute, Templin. I don't know why I always say temple. Okay, so I was super happy to see that this came out because the Custodes are my favorites. Now, a huge big fat disclaimer before I start to welcome everybody in the chat. And yes, hi, dear Golden Astartes. Now, from now on, I decide to do things in the following way whenever I'm covering. Well, not all, depends on the video and when it's released, but like now, this video is new and not everything is relevant, so to speak, and not everything is worth dissecting or talking about, all of that. And for the sake of having, like, how to say this, for the people that have not seen this fully, I left the link down below. So go and watch the full thing because we're not gonna watch the full thing, and we're just gonna focus on particular things that are relevant and interesting to me especially, and of course to you, but I picked some parts that are super, like, well, I think that there are very interesting facts, but this totally does not replace the full-on experience that you can have if you can watch it on your own, and they do deserve the view. So I know that hardcore 40k fans are going to watch it anyway, but for the rest that just enjoy my reactions more, well, still please go and check the original videos because it's about the total and awesome effort that was put in it, and it's really amazing video. But the Adeptus Custodes are my favorites, and I was going to talk about them anyway, so this is just like two things merging into one basically. It's a very good combination. So we are going to do this transformative basically video and stream, and yeah, talk about the goodies. At least what I deem worthy. Everything is worthy, but the point is, you know what is like the most substantial thing that is about the custodies that I enjoy and like. And you can of course say in the chat what is the thing that you enjoy and like. So welcome to dear Clayton, dear Ivy. Harry is here. Also, dark hi to you. And Vaughn. Wow, yes, you are on time. Okay, guys, so without further ado, I did pick some moments of it and let's see it. And the other thing that I want to mention is that I am covering the latest Luton video I recorded. You know, it's not gonna be a stream because I do want to once again pick particular parts, and that took a lot of time, so I recorded it and I'm going to only talk about like particular things of the whole video. He's explaining time and space, and you just have to see it for yourself. You just go and watch it for yourself, and then it's gonna be a lot better because I'm gonna assume that you have seen it already, so we can talk about just some of the points that he made that are like super interesting and key. And it's kind of something that I also wanted to talk about, but I'm going to go even deeper than he did eventually in my own video. But all that you're going to see is going to be in that. I mean, I'm gonna elaborate in my reaction and coverage of his video, so you see what I explained there. But yeah, let's continue with this. So starting
of a fabled Primarch from legend.
So we're starting from here.
They are the Emperor's original enforcers, his closest advisors, his bodyguards, and his first gene kin. They were the messengers of his will, the keepers of his darkest secrets, the sworn guardians of his seat of power. They alone understand the Imperial truth in its original form. They alone remember terror before the days of unification, and they alone know the true purpose of the Golden Throne.
Yeah, they're awesome. So I just want to interject here. The thing that I most appreciate about the Custodes and why they are really my favorites, actually, I forgot to mention that, is exactly because they're the closest thing to the Emperor besides the Primarchs, so they're the most badasses. The badass soldiers, basically, the best created, the best made, the strongest out of everybody, except the Primarchs. So I just love them, and they're the ones that are truly so close to the Emperor that he really like counts on them. They're his personal freaking guard, the confidants, and all of that. But we're gonna get to these things, and they are in golden armor, which is my favorite thing.
Even now, they stand even above the holy warrior brotherhood of the Adeptus Astartes, just as the Astartes stand above the masses of common humanity.
Yeah, so you can imagine what is the difference between the Custodes and the Astartes. Like, there's a huge difference. There's one moment in one of the little novels, I think, that Wolf Lord covered, where I think Custodes were fighting Primaris, and even the Primaris were just killed, So they're superior to everybody. Then, yeah, everybody but the Primarchs. Let's again, repeat that. Although it's an interesting thought, if like two Custodes can beat one Primarch, probably can, but well, I don't know. What do you think about that? Two Custodes against the Primarch, can that happen? Probably, I think. It hates you too.
Each one is a champion and a hero unto himself. In a cruel twist, this valor is perhaps their greatest flaw, for despite all their heroism and all their sacrifice, they have failed in their ultimate duty.
Yeah, to
They
protect the
are
Emperor.
the brotherhood of demigods, the Golden Legion, the Emperor's 10,000. They are known by 1,000 names, but to the galaxy as a whole, they are the Adeptus Custodes.
And that's a bit confusing. Known by 1,000 names, I've never heard that before. Yeah, let's
The
continue.
Custodes originated in the half-remembered days of the Terran Unification Wars. Drawn from the children of Terra's nobility, even as the wars to consolidate the Emperor's rule across the planet still raged. The Custodes were bodyguards and hostages both.
Yeah, how
Taken in late infancy,
interesting.
each was resculpted through a long-forgotten process of biogenetic alchemy, more grueling than even the creation of modern Primaris Astartes. The result was a warrior greater in stature, reflex, mind, and might than anything seen before.
Okay, does that mean that the technology is so long forgotten to this day that there can no longer be any Custodes created? There are 10,000, but some of them did die, so there are not 10,000. So does that mean that they cannot be created anymore? I mean, it makes a lot more sense to create a ton more Custodes rather than a regular Astartes or even Primaris. The more Custodes you have, the better army you're going to have, like ever. So, well, I know that the process is extremely hard, but this is the first time that I hear this long forgotten technology. Basically, yeah, does that mean that it's really like totally forgotten to the 41st, 42nd millennia? That's a question.
Every Custodes was a genetic work of art, closer to the Emperor's own Primarchs than to the Thunder Warriors who served as his first genetically enhanced army. Indeed, when the Thunder Warriors had served their purpose in uniting Earth, and the time came for them, as outdated and unreliable prototypes, to be quietly retired, it was the Custodes that carried out the bloody deed atop Mount Ararat.
That's super sad. I mean, I really feel about the Thunder Wars, how they were totally slaughtered by the Custodes, and they have no choice. They have to follow the Emperor's, orders. But, well, that's another topic.
Through the long years of the Great Crusade,
Okay, Dark.
Custodes filled a multitude of roles. Primarily, they were the Emperor's personal bodyguard and war host, accompanying him on campaigns and aiding in the search for his lost sons. One of their most significant deployments was to the world of Gyros Thravian. With the Emperor at their head, they saved the Primarchs Horus Lupercal, Rogel Dawn, and Mortarion from destruction at the hands of the immense orc warboss, Garkul Blackfang. It is said that of the 1,000 custodians to be deployed, only 3 fell, at the cost of 100,000 orcs.
Wow.
The names of these 3 fallen custodes were carved into the Emperor's armor, an accolade awarded not even to his own sons.
Yeah, that's why I'm just starting to think that the Custodes are a lot more cherished by the Emperor than the Primarchs themselves. Because unlike the Primarchs, the Custodes are so extremely dedicated to the Emperor, their whole existence is solely focused on the Emperor's protection and existence, so they're well they exist only to protect him and the Imperium, and whatever he says goes, where the Primarchs have their own, you know, well, the Custodes also have free will, obviously, but the point is that they're conditioned to be extremely loyal to the point where this is the sole purpose of their whole being, where the Primarchs are like the very naughty sons that maybe will listen, maybe will not, so that is, I mean, I understand why the Emperor will hold them in such a esteem, so to speak, because he knows that whatever freaking happens, there's not gonna be one single custody that is going to turn his back around and be like, huh, I will be my own boss. No, that's just not happening. So the Emperor does respect their sacrifice and their honorable service. That's like for sure, it seems.
It is also likely that the
Hey,
Custodians
Beta.
were present during the persecution of the 2 lost Primarchs and their legions, though, as with anything relating to the Forgotten and the Purged, nearly all has been lost to myth and legend.
That is sad. I mean, what myth and legend in a world where technology is present that should be recorded, I
In
think.
addition to their role as warriors and guardians of the Emperor, the Custodians acted as emissaries between the Emperor and his Primarchs. They were entrusted with carrying his orders, relaying information on the progress of the Great Crusade, and ensuring that his vision of a united galaxy came to pass.
And also holding Magnus hostage or something like that, or I'm mistaken with some other story. There's something about them trying to hold. Oh no, that was a made up story that I think I watched from 40k theories. I'm not sure. Yeah. So it kind of blended into the 40k canon, I think, in my mind at least. Oh, well, thank you very much, dear Clyton.
In a move that speaks of some limited vision of things to come, some were also assigned to keep watch over those Primarchs who had failed to meet the Emperor's standards of a rapid, secular conquest of humanity. Chief amongst them was the soon-to-be Minister of Chaos Absolute, Lorgar Aurelian.
Yeah, the first naughty boy.
Such steps were not sufficient to prevent the great cataclysm of the Horus Heresy, and when the time came for the traitors to show their true colors, the Custodes assigned to the traitor legions were isolated from their support. None would survive long enough to report back to the Emperor. Those assigned to Lorgar found themselves massacred on Istvan V, along with the loyalist Iron Hands.
Who can massacre the freaking Custodes? Like the word bearers? How many word bearers were needed to massacre the Custodes, where the Custodes are so far superior than even a Primaris Marine? Well, maybe there were like too many of them. I have not reached that story, so I don't know how things transpired. How are they written to make, sense? But that's kind of a bummer, you listen how they are so strong and so amazing, the closest thing to freaking Primarch, and then you hear how they were massacred, probably by like regular Astartes, and you're like, wait, what? There must have been like so many freaking word bearers. Like imagine a parody like this, where the word bearers going to kill the to kill the Custodes with their books of religion or something. They're like, ha! Oh, wait, I actually have a textbook here. Oh, sorry, the mic. Like, huh, Custodes, huh, you're bad. I'm gonna kill you with knowledge. Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. That's a good idea for a parody, actually. That I can do. Not that I have the costumes for that, but I can still do something. um, yeah, he has a lot of complexes, I think, not only
Raven
one.
Guard, and Salamander's legions. The nearly 1,000 Custodes sent with Leman Russ to apprehend the traitorous Magnus the Red met a similar fate, as they found themselves cut down in droves by the psychic powers of the Thousand Suns.
So there are actually, I mean, there is such a case where they went to apprehend Magnus, but they were massacred by the psychic powers. Like, what? I mean, do they? I mean, they have to have psychic powers, don't they? Don't tell me that they don't have it, because it's like, why? Why wouldn't they? I mean, that's like necessary, because they're gonna be helpless against the power. Imagine the Emperor from Star Wars. The power. I mean, it's kind of similar, basically. Power showcase. So, oh Jesus, it's just sad, that, oh, they're so powerful. Oh, they're just gotten fried by those guys because they have psychic powers. Well, the Custodes are supposed to be the answer to everything, and they're kind of not. I just don't like such inconsistencies. I mean, to me, there are inconsistencies because you're building up someone, let's say a character, so much in a particular way, and then you like wonder how to invent loopholes so they can be hurt in some kind of a way. And I just don't like that, because it's kind of obvious that they're going to meet enemies with psychic power somehow, somewhere, and if they are not prepared, then what? I mean, the Emperor has all powers, so he has to think that, well, yeah, my legion, that Legion of Magnus, they're most prominent in those kind of powers. So yeah, I totally forbade, sorry, I made this edict of Nicaea, I think it was, a code that's supposed to prevent them, but but they still have those powers, so why would they not use them? It's like sending somebody that's not equipped or trained to do something like totally out of their specialty, even if they're the strongest warriors. That's something that they have not encountered, and they do not know how to deal with it. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, their physical strength and might and armor is not gonna do anything then, and the Emperor shouldn't have known that. But let me know in the comments if the Custodes have any psychic powers, because really that's a question that I never have seen before. I mean, I never had this answered for myself. I never seen it like written. But let me just quickly see what your guys are saying to not miss something. Hi to DR USB 1. Logan. Oh, hi to Logan. They have psychers? Okay. Yeah, they do work with the Sisters of Silence. Well, if the Sisters of Silence were not sent to counter the Psychers, maybe that's what happened there. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I'm gonna get to that story anyway, eventually. But till then, that's why I'm asking you guys. Of course, I have heard about Magnus and what he did. Yeah, we already covered how they are made, but yes. But how the Custodes are made is different. The dreadnoughts. Okay, well that's good if they can still do that with their forgotten technologies, but continuing, because we have a bit more to cover here about from the view.
But the bloodiest struggle the Custodes would endure during the Heresy would come not from the Thousand Sons homeworld of Prospero, nor even from the Siege of Terra itself, but from the veiled events of the war within the Webway. This clandestine war was propagated when Magnus the Red broke the psychic seals surrounding the Imperial Webway project,
And here
which
we
would
are.
have freed humanity from its reliance on the warp for interstellar travel. This campaign saw nearly the entirety of the Custodes, along with the Sisters of Silence, enter the Webway portal beneath the Golden Throne, and for 5 long years they battled the hordes of demons and traitor Astartes that sought to breach it.
Wow,
Had
5
they
years.
failed, all of Terra would have been overrun by demonic forces, but victory cost the Custodes more than 9,000 dead, as well as the lives of its 3 commanding tribunes.
Yeah.
Such losses meant that, by the time Horus himself came to Terra, the Custodes were a shadow of their former strength. Though they gave all they could to defend their liege, in the end it was not enough. The Emperor was laid low by the dying blow of the arch-traitor.
There should have been
forever interred
20,000
within the Golden Throne.
Custodes.
The Custodes turned from the wider Imperium and threw themselves into the duty they had ultimately failed, the defense of the Emperor's mortal form. They now lived beneath the shadow of the Emperor's internment. Many eschewed their armor in shame, whilst others simply abandoned the deep red cloaks of office for a black shroud of mourning. At the
But that's
behest
kind of a
of
waste.
g.t.e.r.my, one of the few remaining loyalist Primarchs, the Custodes agreed to the Edict of Restraint and were confined to Terra and the Sol system. Though over the long millennia that followed, the Custodes were able to rebuild their strength, they were bound to never leave the solar system. Aside from a brief, extraordinary intervention to stop the rule of the Mad Ecclesiarch Gog Van Dyer during the Age of Apostasy, the Custodes' actions would be limited to the security of the Imperial Palace and the Sol system for the next 10,000 years.
Yeah, that we know.
The organization of the Custodes reflects their greatest strength, the individual skill and prowess of their members. Each Custodian is part of a sodality, a formation similar to a squad, but with far more tactical flexibility afforded to the individual.
Yeah, that's cool because that means that they're all well-rounded warriors and they can do everything basically. And look, there's Kitten. There's Kitten right there.
Several sodalities
Hey, Blade,
make
hi.
up a shield company, commanded by a shield captain, which in turn form shield hosts. Each host is specialized around a particular duty, from the Solar Watch, which operate the...
Okay, now I have to go to the next meat of things, like I've said in the beginning. So, next thing of the video that I think it's more interesting. Okay, let's
their
see.
leader and representative within the Senatorum Imperialis. There exists a further separation between the...
About the oil thing, is that just something that TTS came out with, or is it really like that? Are they really oiled? That is not gonna go well with their armor. I mean, it's gonna be like slipping, you know. Okay. Well, if they have something like a cloth before the metal, probably not. But are they really oiled? That's a good question.
wider ranks of the Custodes and the Companions, the elite 300 who form the Emperor's personal attendants. This inner circle are directly responsible for the Emperor's safety, maintaining a constant vigil within the Sanctum Imperialis and over the Emperor himself. Each is selected from the wider ranks of the Custodes for some exemplary feat of skill and bravery that elevates them above their already superhuman brethren. Within their ranks can be found the finest minds and surest blades of the Custodes, and there has not been a single Captain General that did not first serve as a companion.
That's so funny. I mean, the whole word companion just so funny. I previously thought that that's only something that was from TTS, but it's not. It's real. Well, they probably, yeah, for sure they're gonna need for the armor, but the point is if they're really oiled and then they put on the armor, that doesn't seem very, well, I don't know actually, because it's the future. It's the future. And by the way, that's from a very funny sketch from SNL with Kristen Wiig and Katy Perry. The future. That is how Kristen Wiig says it. Anyway, so that's the future. So they can actually maybe need oil for everything. Who
In the
knows?
days before his internment, it is said that the companions were the Emperor's closest confidants, entrusted with whatever doubts and fears that may
Well,
have plagued the master of
maybe
mankind.
it will.
In addition to their usual training regime, the Custodes conduct blood games amongst themselves.
Blood game.
These years-long competitions see one Custodes cast out from the palace and tasked with returning undetected, infiltrating the defenses of the palace and carrying out a mock assassination of the Emperor or
That's
another
super.
high-ranking individual.
That's super interesting. Assassin's Creed with a custode, infiltrate the palace, try to kill a fake emperor, and see if you can sneak, through all the defenses. Like, imagine how hard this game will be if there's a game like that. Like a true video game, like Custodes Assassin's Creed Edition.
These exercises ensure not only that the Custodes are masters of counter-espionage, understanding every conceivable route an enemy agent could possibly take through the palace, but are more than capable of conducting such work themselves. Whether for the gathering of information or to strike at a target before it becomes a threat, these skills are invaluable in their sacred task of protecting the Emperor.
Yeah, like I said, well-rounded warriors. This is just really impressive. I actually didn't know that part, that they were able to also be a sneaky type of a warrior, like assassin type as well. That's super cool.
Being part of the Emperor's personal household, the Custodes continue to be trained in far more than just the art of war. Their educational repertoire, which has persisted since the Heresy, includes topics as varied as the political landscape of Holy Terror to the cultural history of humanity.
Oh, so that's why the emperor wanted to ask the oiled custodies about what happened and when did it happen, because they're supposed to know. They're supposed to be informed about absolutely everything, be extremely knowledgeable. So that's really cool. I really like that.
This is reflected both by their Captain General's inclusion amongst the High Lords, a position in which a mastery over political machinations is a matter of life and death, and in the very naming conventions the Custodes practice. This latter honorific is a key tenet of the Custodes. Upon their successful induction, a newly inaugurated member abandons any name previously given to them and instead picks one from humanity's collected myths and legends. The archives from which they can pick their name are unparalleled in the wider Imperium.
Well, everybody in the 40k universe, no matter who it is, custodians or not, they all carry some name of some kind of a hero or a god. Like Horus, that's Egyptian god, for instance. There are so many examples. Like literally everybody are named after something that's Roman or Greek or Egyptian or whatever they could possibly take. Actually, even from the Norse mythology, I'm pretty sure. So the Custodes taking names from myths and legends is just the official way of saying, yeah, we do admit that we do take a lot of names from everywhere.
With documentation dating back before even the dark age of technology. Upon selection, each custodian inscribes their name on the inside of their armor, with more names awarded as great deeds are performed.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So if you perform like Hercules, you're gonna be called Hercules. Then if you do something like, well, who else? How was that guy? Well, let's say, okay, Ares, something that was said about the god of war Ares. And he did something like that, and they're like, okay, you're gonna be called now Ares as well. And then he does something like, it's kind of hard to cover those names in English. Orestes, no. Well, actually, yeah, why not? There's so many. There's so many. So he can be called Orestes, Ares, Hercules, like a lot. Okay, Horus slash slash moon, a moon, like all the cultures. Like it doesn't matter, just as long as it is from the Middle Ages.
It is said that Constantin Valdor, the Custodes' first Captain General, had earned over 1,932 names.
Wow, he just outdone himself. Okay, oil taps are the thing, a real thing. Wow. Tell me your full name, kitten. Are you really sure? Yeah, that is actually that's a quote. That's a quote from DTS. Yeah, bro. Well, bravo to you. Thank you for bringing that up. I was yeah, I just remember that. Well, kitten is just much more simpler, you know. Yeah. Yeah, kitten is gonna be like, well, I'm Olarius Caesar, the Hercules, the brother of Hercules, the other brother of Hercules. Zeus had a lot of children, so all the children of Zeus, and like imagine this, how funny that's gonna be. Oh, just one funny thing. There was no, literally there was a man. There was a man. No, I'm kidding. There was a TV show called Hot and Cleveland with Betty White, and one of the characters there was uh it's a long story. Okay, so the character is a woman that's an actress, and she is playing in a show that it's like Bold and the Beautiful, like All My Children or something. And let's say that they were filming or reenacting a scene, and she was trying to say all her names, and she had a lot of names because she was married a ton of times. Because you know how these shows are, they go for 20 years and they marry and divorce and marry and divorce and marry and divorce. So it's so funny. So she's like, I am Honor Saint Raven, something Guadalupe Lopez, Diego Santiago, something like that. And in the end, it was like Saint Raven. I cannot do it with my mouth, but it's like a sound from a tribe and then Saint Raven. So it was so funny. I was crying on that scene, like crying. Okay, continuing.
Before
We
his
have just a bit
disappearance.
more.
From the earliest days of their inception,
Oh, by the way, is that the Titan, the Terminator version of armor of the Custodes? Because it looks awesome.
the Custodes were awarded use of the finest weapons and armor to which the Imperium had access.
Yeah, Aphrodite, well, if he is called Aphrodite, he probably went and romanced someone. And is that canon that really Kitten had a elder girlfriend or something? Because, you know, with all of these, you know, the Primarchs, I don't know if they can like even women, or they, I mean, I'm just so confused. Do they have any affinity towards women or not? They're like too big, and there's like not so such a big woman that could match them, and yeah. So I don't know about the emperor too, actually. Well, he did wait. Um, my Bulgarian brain and English, they're just mixing together and they're talking to each other right now. So he did have some kids, I heard, and yeah. So maybe he could do something, but the Primarchs, I never heard about the Primarchs. The Custodes, I only heard that thing about Kitten. We only know, I mean, we all know about the fact that the non-chaos Marines are not having any kind of urges because they just don't. It's basically removed out of them. It's not their nature. It's not a part of their nature, but the chaos Marines, those that are, you know, worshipping Slanesh, the Emperor's children, they are, I mean, they can do stuff like that, but I guess that's gonna be a long topic, so I better stop here. Oh, the town at the Eldar. Oh, yes. Oh, that's even worse, actually. I mean, at least the Eldar look kind of cool, and I'm pretty sure. Well, I haven't seen many Eldar without their helmets, so I'm not really sure how they actually look. But yeah, they should look like humans, except for the ears, and they're maybe taller, but other than that, they should look like humans. But Tao, that they're not. Then no, no, they're not really beautiful. The Tao. Goody man. Ah, you're kidding me, right? You are you kidding me? Because that's a big deal if he does.
This tradition has
I never
continued,
heard that.
and at present, the Custodes' armory
You're kidding.
represents one of the mightiest collections of war gear in the known galaxy.
Yes, they have the best armor. Yeah.
They wield the finest suits of powered armor the Imperium can maintain, and bear weapons of rare and irreplaceable design. Even their vehicles are equipped with advanced anti-gravity technology that has only recently been matched by the innovations of Belisarius Cawl, the legendary Martian tech priest.
Oh, that guy's
Even
golden.
so, their capacity to conduct war is nigh unmatched. Such standards extend to their starships as well, and they operate a range of cruisers and battleships that form the core of the
Oh, I know
Sol
that they're
System's
supposed to be
defensive
like
fleet.
elves. I know.
Amongst their number is the Emperor's own flagship, the immense Bucephalus. Beyond this, the Custodes garrison a series of 5 starkeeps that protect the navigable routes into the Sol System.
Yeah.
In the
Super
early
cool.
42nd millennium, the Custodes saw a limited deployment across Terra, attempting to stem the flow of madness that followed in the wake of the Great Rift. It was not enough, and when at last the cults of ruin had completed their bloody rituals and a tide of demons poured into the streets of the Throne World itself, it was a force of 4,000 Custodes alongside the Grey Knights and Imperial Fists
Oh,
that
yeah.
would stand against them at the Battle of Lion's Gate.
Oh, by the way, what about Grey Knights against Custodes? How that's gonna go?
But the servants of the Chaos God Khorne were vicious in form and endless in number. In a repeat of the war within the Webway, the Custodes and their allies were forced to pay with their lives to hold every street against the demonic horde. It was only with the intervention of the newly resurrected Robute Guilliman and his Primaris Marines that the costly struggle was at last put to an end.
Oh, yeah.
In the face of their failure to protect Terra itself from the touch of the archenemy, it became apparent that the Custodes would have to adapt in order to keep the Emperor safe. Between them, Captain General Trajan Valorous and the newly titled Imperial Regent Guilliman revised the Edict of Restraint, ensuring that while the elite companions would remain by the Emperor's side and secure Terra, the rest of the Custodes would be free to crusade across the galaxy. Once more donning their red cloaks, the Custodes would go forth and be the golden spear tip of Guilliman's Indomitus crusade,
Okay.
bringing the fire of the Emperor to those who had cast him down 10,000 years before.
That's more useful now. Okay, we're gonna stop it here, guys. So, as I said, the video is down below. Go watch the whole thing. But that's pretty cool, and I do prefer, for the Custodes to actually do something. So it's better for them to get their red capes and go on and stop some emerging maybe dangers before they can actually get close enough to Terra. So I'm all up for that. So Dark says the Custodes would kill the Grey Knights. Only with the sisters? Ah. Interesting. Wait, so you think that the Custodes need the Sisters of Bata in order to defeat the Grey Knights, but the Grey Knights are Astartes that have an awesome armor and also are conditioned to be extremely resistant to, yeah, the Grey Knights. I mean that. I'm really really confused about the power level now, because I know that they're like super awesomely powerful, incorruptible, all of those things, but I never actually thought about how they compare in terms of a custody. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, I just stumbled upon this. Hmm. Okay, I'm getting more confused now by your comments. Ah, okay. I have to research, well, everything about the Grey Knights and the Custodes and who can win, so to speak. Interesting. But by the logic of like hierarchy, first is the Emperor, second are, the Primarchs, and then they're Custodes. So where are the Grey Knights then? Like below the Sisters of Silence? But the Sisters of Silence can get killed according to that book that I just finished, The Flight of the Eisenstein. There were sisters there, but you say that together, but together does not count. Like they're supposed to be, we are saying warrior against warrior, so it's not like warrior and their buddy against one type of a warrior. That's just not really fair. So it should be Custodes against Grey Knights purely only, and not, oh, sister, come here, come here. Also, now we are complete, that's just not fair to me. Okay, so basically the Grey Knights can lightning, bring the lightning. I was going to invent the word like strike them by lightning. No, like make them make them glow like bulb or something, but it's just very hard to, I still have to elaborate on that, so it cannot be only one word, but okay. And then the Custodes will be a bit defenseless, I guess, against that. That is their greatest flaw, I guess, not being psychers. They're all well-rounded warriors, but they're not psychers. That's just so weird to me. Very, very weird. That should be like the first thing. I mean, they should be capable of everything. How the Emperor then expects them to be such a force of everything, force of nature is not the word, but like the ultimate warriors if they are defenseless against psychers. That's, wow. I think my 40k logic is once again challenged. Oh my gosh, I have to think about that, yeah. And oh, I'm ending in the second act, so do what you need to do, so to speak. Warhammer's Jedi. Oh, that's a great input. So, dear ESB1 says, personally, I believe that the Custodes can still kill the Grey Knights, but would be a bit of a challenge. Having the sisters would make it easier, though. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, of course it's gonna be easier, but that's not a fair comparison. you know, it should be warrior against warrior. That's what I mean. Yeah, they are meant to function together, but when it's mano a mano, it should be mano a mano. That's what I mean. If it's like a one on one and not 2-on-1. Just traditional battle warrior type against another warrior type, it should be 1-on-1. That's what I mean. If it's not a totally fair situation, if it's like a war situation, in which case the Custodes are meant to function alongside the sisters, and for some reason they have to fight the Grey Knights, of course they're gonna use every leverage that they can, so they're going to have the sisters beside them. But if it's literal fantasy, imaginative fight is gonna be one-on-one. So in one-on-one situation, who's gonna win? That's my question basically. Yeah, exactly, Dark. That's my point, that Grey Knights are like Space Marines, but trained to be a lot stronger, a lot, by the logic of 40k. When they have a ton more training, that automatically makes them physically and mentally stronger, especially mentally, but physically as well. And then they're ready to even go on the warp and wreak havoc there, like that famous guy with the shield that I just totally forgot his name, damn it. But he was amazing in TTS, okay? He's uh like the immortal Grey Knight that forever is gonna be in and out, sorry, of real space, kicking ass, taking names. Yeah, Beta, yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's also my point, that the Custodes do have superior everything else, so they're supposed to be able to defeat the Grey Knights. Uh, if, once again, the Grey Knights are not reliant on their psychic powers, for sure. Ah, but that's interesting, yeah, if they do have anti-psychic weapons, that's gonna be great. But they did face the, you know, the forces of Magnus and died. So those weapons did not help them, I guess, then, if they even had them then. I don't know, but if they did had them, they were still massacred by regular Astartes only with psychic power. So that does not. Well, actually, yeah, that's a good point, that the Grey Knights, they're stronger than regular Astartes. They have psychic powers that are supposed to be like super, super great. And then the forces of Magnus are the strongest psychers in the same time, but they're regular Astartes in the same time. So it's just getting a bit confusing when you think about it this way. And if the Custodes had the powers, I mean, not the powers, the weapons, and they didn't have the sisters, they were massacred by regular Astartes with psychic powers, which is going to mean that the Grey Knights are capable of massacring the Custodes. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's such a mishmash. Ah, yeah, you mean that uh, the Magnus forces vastly outnumber them, so that's a thing. Do you think that they're just gonna be a Primarch? But I think they're shorter. The weapons are very rare. Well, rare, but there are only 10,000 of them. I mean, 10,000 is not really that many, and some of them are dead. And if they did not replenish their numbers, so they did say that they start to recover. So that should mean that they replenish some of their numbers to become again 10,000. If I was the Imperium or whoever is, like, well, Gilliman is in charge now, but yeah, if I was him, I would focus my strengths or whatever resources of creating more Custodes, because apparently the Primaris are not enough. So I would definitely do that if I was Gilliman, like create Custodes as many as possible. They have proven themselves that they are not corruptible, so that's perfect. They have proven themselves that they can withstand like whole army of demons and keep them for 5 years in one place, not letting them in. That's amazing. So yeah, instead of the Primaris, maybe more resources poured into the Custodes, or at least like split into two, like one type of you can say like focus of the Adeptus Mechanicus and Adeptus Biologicus, or whatever they were called, just focusing on creating more Custodes, and one like department focusing on the Primaris. I think that the Imperium is large enough and resourceful enough for them to do that, in order for them to fortify the Imperium with better armies and replenish the most valuable of the armies, which once again are the Custodes, and not putting effort in creating more Astartes. Or, I mean, they can always do that. The point is on the side, like a third project. But creating Custodes and Primaris should be like the absolute focus, but it seems like it is not. Oh, okay, I see you. Well, they said that they were massacred. I'm just, we were covering the video up to now. I don't know when you joined the stream. Even now, the fight, those of Magnus did most of the job at literally melting their entire vanguard by turning the sea into acid. Okay, that is making total sense why the Custodes died. Okay. Yeah, they stuck against powerful psychics and demons. They were still able to fight the demons. So basically, they massacred the demons. And that is the way that they defeated them physically. Mm. Ooh. Well, they are created from the Emperor, but they still are doing that, it seems. So I guess it's still possible. How Thor. Custodes are immune to most psychic tricks. They are that immune to the warp touch that the Emperor's imprisoned a powerful demon in the body of one of his Custodes, Draconian or Dracnien. Dracnien, I think, was his name. Yeah, I heard about that story, but then what happened to him? I don't remember if he's cast out in the warp or what happened there, but that's very interesting. I mean, we do have to get all the facts together, because otherwise the picture that one could draw from the lore could be very either inconsistent or inaccurate, or just very hard to comprehend, because there's a lot of things that seem like are not explained well or enough. But if you really dig in, maybe the picture is gonna be more full, so to speak. Oh, well, yeah, okay, you just answered my question. Like, library stories are very inconsistent with them. Oh boy. The cold Yorks, if you believe that they're strong, then they're strong. Well, that only works with the orcs. Well, I mean, it works literally physically directly with them, but of course it's gonna work with all the other sentient beings, just gonna be expressed more, I mean, not that directly, because just the orcs can do that. It's their nature, and all the other species, to a certain extent, through a belief, you can do a lot of things, but just not as suddenly and materialistically as the orcs can, let's say. They are just more advanced in making stuff up and bringing them to life. Huh. Okay, so they're weak, like against someone like Dark Nyan. Okay. Well, interesting. If they're coming out with something new about the Custodes that's gonna fill some holes, I would love to read that. He ran into the Webway, and what happened? He went into the Webway, outside the Webway. Like, what happened? Oh, large vat of Emperor's blood laying around. That's an interesting question. Yeah, okay, yeah. They're the best of humanity can offer in terms of sheer and raw physical powers and insight and tactics, but they're simply not psychers and need silent sisters. That's a huge flaw, like I said. Indeed. Hey, Dominic. That's a huge flaw, because they're basically tied to the sisters. They have to glue the sisters to their butts and be like, come on, sisters, We have to fight now. Oh my gosh, there's a psyker coming. Do I have a sister next to me? Do I? Do I? It's just, what? That's not good. Like, they're all complete, all well-rounded warriors. They can do tactics, sneaking in the palace, pretending to kill the emperor. I mean, you know, what we just heard from the video. Do all of those things that warriors should know how to do, like ninja stuff, not ninja stuff, just regular combat, close, far, whatever. And they're like so dependent on another type of a warrior, like, come here, come next to me, please. Oh my god, there's a psyker, sister, sister. You know, it's just, oh, it's just a bit ridiculous. I imagine how that's gonna look in battle, like to every custodes there's one sister, like back to back, they're like back to back, you know. Oh my god, it's hilarious. Okay, okay, finishing reading your comments and then I really have to go, guys. Whew. And tomorrow I'm gonna work on that Luton video. And Endymion always. The faithful guardian turned on his heels and vanished into the webway, never to be seen again. From the wiki. Huh! That's the Warhammer wiki there. Interesting. And that's very easy to write somebody off. Just went into the webway. Or what are we going to do with this character? Go to the webway. Okay. Went to the webway. You know, that was an episode of Xena. There was a scroll and Gabrielle was writing what's gonna happen, and that's so funny. Oh, I have to rewatch this episode because she is literally writing stuff and they're happening. And there was a warlord, sorry, and she didn't know what to do. So she's like, okay, the lord, someone, decided that he's very sleepy and he went with his army into this cave. And he's like, all of a sudden, you know, he was attacking, I think. And he's sitting there like, my people, we have to go to the mountains in the cave and sleep because we are sleepy. And they're like, everybody, huh, yeah, we are going there. So they just go there. And then there's another issue, and she just didn't know what to do. And once again, she's like, this guy also went to the cave to sleep. So there he goes to the cave, and then I think Xena was like, oh, that cave's gonna get crowded. Amazing episode. I think it was called that the quill is mither or the pen is mither, or I don't know what exactly, but it's hilarious. And she tried to bring Joxer, if he was, you know who that is, to her, or I don't know what exactly was, but she was like, Gabriel, I'll walk with a jerk or something like that. And then the next morning there was Joxer there because she perceives him as a jerk. So yeah, I mean, amazing episode. So in 40k, what we're going to do with this or that character? Well, they went into the webway. Lyman Russ, he's a Primarch. We don't know what to do. He went into like the webway of the warp. Like, who cares? You know, it's just funny. You can do that because both the webway or the warp are places that you can get lost there, and you don't know what you will encounter, like the Dark Eldar or whoever knows what else. So it's gonna be super funny. I mean, super plausible that they're just gonna be completely lost there. Well, okay, you can look at it this way, but I cannot exactly look at it this way. That how the way that you put it, that explains why the Imperium isn't invincible while having such a super powerful warriors. If the Emperor could make somebody to be a psyker, he is. They do have powers, I mean, the psychic powers that the Grey Knights have are intentional, and a lot of things are intentional. So if he wants, he can control that. He can make them psychers, but he chose not to. So for me, that I cannot just contribute that to some kind of a, well, to this kind of a logic that, well, the Imperium is not invisible, because those are the things that could be mended. Those are things that could be corrected very easily just by logic. If you're a good ruler, sorry, king, whatever, emperor, and if you have the resources to fortify yourself, to do things that are obvious, you have to do them, otherwise you're basically dumb or stupid. There's a lot of leaders in fictional literature, or just leaders in real life, that they try their best, use all their resources to protect themselves, let's say, just an example, or the country or whatever they're ruling over. And they do that. Now, if they are mistaken somewhere, they're mistaken. But the point is that they are doing everything that they know, use all their knowledge, all their resources to make the best out of what they can. I mean, the best protection, all the best, let's say. So if you are as wise as somebody as the emperor, you'll not be like, oh, I'm just gonna make a ton of loopholes, a ton of possibilities for disaster here, gonna just those loose ends that could totally fail me someday. So I'm gonna do a, total fail somewhere. Just the potential for failure. I'm gonna create things in a way that they're so flawed that they're just having such a potential for failure and all of that. I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed that they're not gonna screw me that much, or the Imperium. So if it's something that he could help not happen, he's supposed to do that. If he's not doing that, then we have to think that he is not wise as he is described, not even a little bit, and that he just does not think about certain things, or he is so incredibly wise and smart and he knows everything that all of those flaws are intentional. But we don't know that. So, yeah, but it's the only way that you can really justify obvious things that could otherwise be done in a totally different way, because that kind of devalues what, in this case, what the Custodes are. There are so many things. They're so badass. They're golden. They're everything. And all of a sudden, oh, but they depend on other types of warriors to be glued to their asses to function. I mean, to function against one of the most prominent type of an enemy of the whole Imperium in general. One of the most famous powers that somebody can possess is psychic powers, and they are not able to protect themselves against that efficiently, so they need other warriors. You know what I mean? So I don't know how you can justify that logically and still be like, well, the Imperium is such a badass, the Emperor is such a badass, the Custodes is such a badasses. Well, okay, what about loophole number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that everybody can see, let alone somebody that's supposed to have lived for thousands of years? I'm once again referring to the Emperor, and not think about those things. So it's either intentional or it's just the flow of the writing. Let's be honest, it's a tabletop game. I mean, the lore is amazing, but it's obvious that some of the things are just thought off, so you can have some kind of a leverage over another character, no matter how much it makes sense or not. So if you're playing orcs, or you're playing, well, not orcs are actually not the best example. Let's say you play the Eldar against the Custodes or something like that, then the Custodes are toasted if you don't have a Sisters of Battle next to their butts. And you need those flaws in order to have more interesting game, but in the matter of true logic, it doesn't really make much sense. That's what I mean. Okay, reading your last comment. So Blade says, yeah, because Custodes are they going with the Primaris Marines to show that the Emperor approves of them? I'm not really sure which of the things that were discussed that's connected to. Oh yeah, Jagatas in the Webway. They're probably having coffee there. Hey John, how are you? Oh well, good. Thank you. Hope that you're good too. Yeah, probably to keep them away from chaos, but Grey Knights are incorruptible and close to the powers and have them, and they're just Astartes, you know? So why can't the Custodes be all things? Then we're not going to have the Sisters of Battle, but they can also do other things, so we can still have them, so to speak, in other ways. I mean, they can still actually fulfill their function completely separately from the Custodes and can still be an anathema of Psychers if they wish. Oh, I don't know about that. Some things I know are created from those shards, but I don't know everything yet. Uh, 10 Grey Knights or 10 Custodes? What would be more effective taking or today? Today? Today. I think both are gonna be enough effective or equally effective. But maybe actually, hmm, maybe the Grey Knights because they also have the psychic power, so they're gonna just fry us with those powers. So yeah, definitely the Grey Knights should be more effective in that way. But then if the Custodes can take 20 more people at the same time, who knows? But with the psychic powers, Grey Knights could take maybe 30 people at the same time. Like the power, like imagine lightning out of the fingers and just frying out more people, like who knows? Hmm. I'm not assuming a best. Well, look now, I'm coming from a point of view. I mean, you know how 40k makes the emperor be like all of these things and almost perfect guy and a god like being, and he says he's not a god, but he's like a god, all those things. He lived on earth for thousands upon thousands of years. That is a period of time that you can acquire all the knowledge that you can possibly acquire. That is, I mean, those are so many lives. Like, imagine how many people lived and died, how many generations of that. So he has all of that knowledge of all the generations. He should be extremely wise, but he's not in everything that he does. So that's why I'm comparing him to someone, a leader, that would factor in a lot of things that are obvious, even to not such so much of a intelligent being, let's say. So I have to put the emperor into higher possible level because we are aware of his abilities, we are aware of how long he lived, we are aware of everything. So it is very inconsistent with his character to have so many flaws to his armies, have so many tactical uh, flaws, plans with the Primarchs. Everything went there as well. I talked about that in my video 10 things that the Emperor did wrong. You have to watch that stream, it's a stream. But yeah, I posted it a few weeks ago. So you do need more of a context maybe of how I'm thinking, but basically, uh, and it's not me, but it is how the Emperor is written from the Black Library, from Games Workshop, how his character is created. That is, it says to us, well, this guy is this, that, and in the end, you see what he did as a structure and how he did his armies and how he created his warriors, and you immediately see how things can fall apart very quickly in terms of logic and all of that. So that's what I mean. You cannot not use a best case scenario when it relates to, well, the best possible human that is actually more than a human. So of course that I'm gonna keep him at the highest possible level and calculate everything from there. So that just means that he's either written not well enough or like I've said, is already a part of some kind of a plan that we're not aware of. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense considering what he is and how he is. Even if you're a regular human being, like not a god, not with special powers, not everything, and you're able to live for 10,000 years, let's say, you're gonna be the wisest man on earth. You're gonna be the smartest man on earth. If you're not suffering, let's say you're not suffering from any illnesses or anything like that, like he's not, and you're able to have a life like a human, well, you're going to see everybody die around you, but the point is that you're going to have the mental fortification and the spiritual fortification, so to speak, for all of that to endure all of that, and you're just going to get information like through all of those years. You're gonna become a freaking genius, and you're gonna know everything eventually. I mean, everything that there is to know from perspective of Earth, that is. And since you have lived for that long, you're going to know everything about how the humanity rose and fell, technologies, how they were created, why they were created, how people think, psychology. You're going to know how to rule, why, where, what, everything. So, I mean, you're going to have a ton of time on your hands, you know, so eventually you're gonna grow wiser and wiser and wiser. And I mean, information is not wisdom, but how you use it is wisdom. So basically, when you start to learn, eventually you're gonna, start to connect things, make some conclusions, connections. That's gonna lead you to wisdom. But for 10,000 years, he's gonna get like so much. And then for us as a regular human beings, I mean, people that are just born and um, born and then dead after 70 how many years, of course that such a person will not be comprehensible to any of us. And we are not going to be able to think of superior military tactics or how to create a warrior or anything like that, but he will be. He will be able to foresee all of those things and how they're going to work. And so, yeah, from that point of view, even a regular human being without any godly powers, well, regular human being that's like immortal, will be able to have a lot more knowledge and to predict some things. I mean, predict in terms of he already knows how. If he applies certain tactic or certain, let's say, technology to something, what's going to happen. So he knows how to correct that. All those things, I can go all and on and on. So of course that we have to keep the emperor the highest possible level and judge him from there, saying like, okay, you should have known that, because he lived for so long. Okay. Oh, well, Gara is amazing, but he's an Astarte. I mean, he can get hurt very easily, especially in his own book. Finishing, guys, because I am 14 minutes behind my time that I was supposed to be here, but topic got very interesting, damn it. Four custodies and one sister. Well, yeah, but this is not the hypothetical situation that I was proposing, but still, it's a good thing to know that, if you think that four custodies are good, plus one sister can withstand so many Grey Knights and their psychic power? Yeah, even 50,000. Yeah, 50,000. I mean, even if he was like 5,000 years, he will still be more knowledgeable that we can ever comprehend, And wise. And then wise. Knowledgeable and wise. Both things. Okay. So, Kimberly, hi to you. Well, it's not necessarily to be cynical. He can still remain, he can still sustain his humanity if he is. That is actually one other thing that's a topic on its own. A lot of people think that if you're like living long, or well, that's just hypothetical, but I'm just gonna be here all night. It's really long topic, but basically when you're wise, you're not gonna be cynical because you're wise. I mean, wisdom is that thing where, like I said, it's assimilation of knowledge, understanding the knowledge, and applying it in the best possible way. And a lot of times that is, well, that is positive. I mean, it's not something negative. So you will see a lot more than you can see now. I mean, some people are cynical because they're arrogant and they're actually blind to the real truths, basically. They're cynical because they're negative. Whereas if you're wise, you're already above and beyond all of that. And this is a state that you cannot sink into. You already far surpassed that. Because basically wisdom is a lot more superior to anything negative and to be cynical in any kind of a way. You will appreciate life a lot more. You will see the, every single moment of life, how it is important and why it is important. You understand a lot more, so to speak. So your whole perspective is going to be so wide and huge that it's really hard to really comprehend. I mean, it's like, I mean, for the regular human being, he is, or we are, like, let's say regular human beings are looking the world from point of, like, if you're in a valley, somewhere in the valley, and the world is expanding in like this, but you're in the middle, like if it's a upside down pyramid, let's say, you will not be able to perceive that form, that shape, even of the upside down pyramid, that you're in it. You're not be able to perceive how vastly, how long it goes, let's say, how big it is, anything like that. You always be like in that small space in your bubble, so to speak, and this is so small and dumb, and oh, there's nothing there, and it's just very different. But for somebody that live for that long, they'll be able to widen their perspective, because they're gonna start to climb up and up and up and up that well, metaphorical pyramid or something, and they're gonna look from up to down at some point, and see everything, actually understand it, see the structure of it, see why everything is like it is. And that is the total opposite of that, to be cynical, because then you're going to be able to appreciate everything and really understand it. So not definitely not cynical. Then I have to go into other topics, but yeah, we are not here for that. So that's why 40k is so awesome. Sorry, guys. Just received a message, and also I'm very late. Okay, so finishing here, and okay, wait. I have to drink water. If I'm gonna keep talking, I'm going to lose my voice. Yes, reflect on that, beta. There's a lot more to be said, but those philosophical topics are very long, so I don't have time for that anymore today. This was just about to be the discussion of just a few key points of the video, and the video is really awesome, guys. So like I said, go and see it. I have to work on the analysis. It's also gonna be deep onto the latest Luton video. But I hope that's not gonna be that long, but well, that long, at least 40 minutes. But just parts, the most key parts of his video. So until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. Please sleep well, and like always, if you'd like to support me, the links are down below. Whew, this was awesome. Till next time, me Gear reviews, guys, and well, the Emperor protects, basically. Oh yeah, bye, guys. Kisses.